guys, what's up? My name is Jeanette, also known as Ms.FitVegan, and I'm here with a living legend, Mr. Dr. Doug Graham. Okay, you know the book 80-10-10. It's a Bible if you want to be healthy. You know, it's similar to the Bible. You got to be healthy in your body, your mind, and your soul. So you might want to check out this book. It taught me a lot, and I'm here with the author. So hi, Doug. How are you today?
I'm thrilled to be here with you. What a treat. Always wanted to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. It's great to spend some time finally together. Thank you for the very high compliments. That's a big deal. I mean, I've read a lot of health books and almost there comes a time when you ask yourself, am I a beginner or am I now the leader? And so when I started writing that book back in the late 90s, I finally said after 20 years in the health field, I'm no longer a beginner. Let me put my thoughts down on paper.
Yeah, I mean, I read this book 11 years ago, so it's been a while, and it's completely like highlighted and all the notes and everything.
Oh.
And honestly, it's a really important book for everyone, not just people that want to be healthy, for people that just want to know the truth about, animal body parts and grains and all the things that they tell us are safe to eat. So, okay, before I go on and on and on talking to you, because it's an honor to talk to you. Seriously, Doug, thank you so much for being here.
We're all just people.
Okay. Well, some of us wrote 80-10-10, but okay. So now some of us are people that wrote 80-10-10, but I have a lot of questions from my followers. So let me start. First question, Doug. Why do so many people today have thyroid problems? Okay. Is it diet or environmental toxins or both? And do we need to worry about it as much if we eat a healthy raw vegan diet? So this is my first question to you.
A lot of factors contribute to thyroid problems. I'm not really convinced in any way that more people have thyroid problems today than used to have thyroid problems. But nowadays, we know about everybody's problems. I lived on the East Coast when I grew up, and if somebody in California had a thyroid problem, I sure didn't know about it. But I never heard anything in medical trends that says, oh, we're seeing more thyroid problems than we used to. I'm not seeing that. So a lot of people have thyroid problems, and a lot of people always have, for a variety of reasons. And the answer, I think, to the question is actually a very simple one. Every single time that you improve your lifestyle in any way, your health improves accordingly. So we're making a lot of compromises in lifestyle these days. And it's not just staying up late and being too sedentary and not eating enough fruits and vegetables and going out, finally go out for a run and you go run behind a bus, and the stresses of knowing every problem that ever happened every day and hearing all about it, where we didn't even used to, we blithely, ignorance was bliss. Yeah. But, and I'm not sure that learning about all of the problems that happen in the world, yes, I want to know some things, but I don't really need to know everything. And those stresses, because stresses are cumulative and they blow through your B vitamins. And it turns out that the way your body works is much more like a symphony than the way that it's taught. We're kind of taught to look at individual parts, individual problems, individual nutrients, isolated bits and pieces. And this isn't really how the body works. The body works in a choreographed fashion where every single of 5 or 6 or maybe 800,000 nutrients, every single one of them is interdependent and interconnected with the others. And the 100 trillion cells are all communicating with each other. it's an amazing symphony. And when one thing goes wrong, it's like having a fruit fly land on one string on a piano. I mean, it's not much, but it throws the whole thing off. And that's just the way it is. So finding that fine balance. Fortunately, human beings have a pretty broad acceptance of things we can do wrong and still be okay. It's not like, wow, we just have to do it perfect or we die. It's not quite like that. But everything we do that is less than favorable for us contributes to our decrepancy. It contributes to our aging factor. It accelerates the body's inability to reproduce itself perfectly over and over and over again. Each cell is designed to reproduce itself perfectly over and over and over. And it can't always do that if we don't provide conditions or substances or forces or influences that are pretty close to ideal, at least close. It'd be nice to get close. So all of those things contribute. And it's not just diet by any means. I mean, nutrition isn't even just diet. And there's way too many factors to say, oh, it's just this. It's not just one thing by any stretch.
Yeah, great point. Great point. Okay. Well, first of all, before I forget, I want to say thank you because you taught me a lot. The biggest thing that you taught me, to be honest, Doug, is that the more simple the meal, the better you'll feel and the better you'll heal, I think. Right. And so thank you for that, because when I learned, I was a raw foodist before I heard that. I was eating all the gourmet crap and the nuts and I don't know, doing it wrong. And then I started eating simple, like you said to do. And it just changed everything for me. My acne went away, all the things that were wrong. And so thank you for that. I always wanted to say thank you.
You're so welcome. Look, I had no aspirations to eat mono meals. I had no aspirations to be a low-fat raw vegan. I had no aspirations to be a raw vegan or a vegetarian or even to do macrobiotic. I had no, I want to become these things in my long chain of dietary changes. But each time I made a change to something that worked better for me, got me closer to allowing me to reach my goals, I had to embrace the things that worked. How could I turn my back on something that worked better? If you got rid of your car that you liked and got one that was better, you wouldn't crave the old one. If you got rid of the old boyfriend and got a new one that was better, you wouldn't crave the old one. And the same thing with diet. I mean, people ask me, don't I crave this or don't I ever want this? And I go, no, what I'm doing works so much better than that worked. Why would I want to go back to that? No, I don't at all.
Yeah. And so great point as well. And then, so now my question is, what do you think? What's your opinion on the raw foodists out there that really start to tout the microbiome variety that we need? Some people are saying we need 30, 40, 50 plants a day to be healthy and feed our microbiome. And so what is your opinion on that?
First of all, I don't have a lot of opinions. I really don't. I'll talk science with you about things. But I don't carry around, I don't eat. If I have them, I don't tend to share them. It's not where my strengths lie. Cows eat grass and their microbiome does just fine on grass. Lions eat meat and their microbiome does just fine on one food every time, every day, same food, every day, simple as could be. And there's thousands of other examples of that. There's ants out there in the wilderness that only eat the mold, a specific mold on the specific that they grow on leaves, and they pile the leaves and they grow mold and then they eat the mold. And they've been doing this for millions of years. It's the only thing they've ever eaten in millions, billions of generations. So there's not good science to support the idea that we need huge variety. But nature does provide us with fairly good variety over the course of the year. So it's, November and December in much of the world, it's easy to get persimmon, but it's almost impossible the rest of the year. In the summer, it's easy to get figs, but almost impossible the rest of the year. And there are many examples of this, citrus peaks in the wintertime. So nature does provide us with some variety throughout the course of the year, but with relative simplicity each and every day. I mean, when your apple tree is dropping apples, you eat apples. And when the peach tree is dropping peaches, you eat peaches. This is kind of an obvious thing. I'm looking for three things in my leaders. I'm looking for people who are enthusiastic about what they're doing, and we certainly find that in the raw food movement. I'm also looking for people with experience. You say you've been a raw fooder for a good long time. And so you've got some experience to draw on. It's not just like, hey, I'm brand new and I'm excited, follow me. Okay, you've got some experience and you've seen a few things and you've tried many things, and that's fantastic. But I'm also looking for education. That education, that's a key factor. And I know that lots of people can learn lots of things, and I don't minimize that in any way. I went to my medical training, and 4 years of school after college, and I'm continuing to learn for another 40 years on top of that training. But without that training, I find a tremendous number of people don't appreciate how complex the body is, how beautiful the entire organization of the way the body works can function and does function. And they still tend to look in a fairly isolated fashion at how health is created. And so, if I may, there are two main models of health in the world. As far as I know, just two. One is called a medical model, and the medical model says quite simply that what you do to maintain your health is different than what you do when you're sick and you want to regain health. And whether that's don't take drugs because drugs will make you sick. If you're healthy, just say no to drugs. But if you're unhealthy, take drugs unquestionably. This is a fascinating, diverse opinion, right? And I'm wondering how the drugs know whether you're healthy or unhealthy, or drink plenty of milk, it'll make you big and strong if you're healthy. But if you're unhealthy, don't drink milk because it'll congest you. So stuff like that. They say do one thing if you're healthy, another if you're sick. The health model says do the exact same things whether you're healthy or sick, but every single day modify each one of those things according to your current needs. So sometimes you need more social time, sometimes you need more private time, sometimes you need more fitness activities, more action, more mobility, more whatever. And some days you go, you know what, I really just want to lay about and read a good book today. Sometimes you need a little more sun, and then after a big day of sun, maybe you need a little less sun. And some nights you do need more sleep than other nights, or some days you need more water than other days. But all of the things that we think of as the pillars of health, we need all of them every day, regardless. We just have to adjust. So understand, though, that the only model most people have ever heard is the medical model. And so even when they switch away from the medical model, where they switch is to what's called the alternative medical model. Fascinating, right? We go to alternative and we go, oh, I had a headache, and so I went to see my chiropractor. I had a headache, and so I took instead of aspirin, I took Bach flower remedies. I took homeopathic. I went to go see my acupuncturist because maybe my headache was because I had a shortage of needles in my shoulder. Well, no, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you hadn't gotten enough sleep last night or whatever it was. So even what most people pat themselves on the back, oh, no, I don't use the medical model. I use the alternative. Oh, it's alternative medical model. It's still the medical model until we can switch over to the health model, at which point a lot of things stop making sense. Studies done on the way that supplements work, isolate supplements, and they go, oh, well, this is the active ingredient in this food that makes this happen. Therefore, let's isolate the active ingredient and give you that. Well, yeah, but it was only functioning when it was in the plant that had everything else all around it in combination with hundreds or thousands of other things. And why would we think that just taking vitamin C on its own or just taking curcumin on its own or whatever you want is going to have the same impact on the body as eating the plant for which we were designed? We're designed to eat plants that grow on land. Those are the ones that appeal to us.
Yeah, I love it, Doug. I mean, that's why I love you so much, because I know truth when I hear it. And when the things that you say, they make sense to me. When I hear truth, I know it when I hear it. And that's why I love your book too, because it's like when truth hits you, it's like you can't deny it. It just makes sense. What's simple makes sense and is true. And so this is a great segue into my next question from an
Before
amazing.
you do,
oh, sorry.
So to me, health is a really important matter. And for a lot of people, we're looking at life and death. Like they've got problems that are serious business. But it doesn't mean we can't have a good time while we go through it. And so the way to have that good time is to realize that no exception, every single substance, force, influence, condition, every single thing that is essential to our well-being is a pleasant experience. Yeah. So when they start talking about, oh, well, take the medicine, or I know this is good for me, even though it hurts, or I really feel it burning going down, but it'll be good later, or, if it doesn't kill you, it makes you. Every single thing necessary for health is it's pleasurable. It's designed to lure you towards it so that it's luscious, it's wonderful. We say a breath of fresh air. We're talking about something that was really delightful. You had a refreshing night's sleep. We eat with gusto. We enjoy, and all of the things.
The sun on our skin. The sun.
Oh my gosh,
so
the
good.
sun on your skin. Yeah, so nice, huh? So all of those things. And it's easy to tell. We can think, would what we're about to do nurture a child? Because we're trying to nurture our children so that they grow up into healthy adults. And I will tell you, I run my life like adults need more nurturing than children. That's just how it is. Life is a little tougher for adults than it is for children. And we have more responsibilities and more da-da-da-das. And I will say, I encourage more nurturing, adult-sized portions of nurturing for adults.
Yeah, I love that.
Lots of nurturing for kids, but even more for us.
Yeah, okay, I love it. Okay, no, I have so many things. Well, this is a personal question now, because my followers, they got a lot of questions, but I'm here, so I get to ask mine. So I coach a lot of people, Doug, on how to go raw and stay raw, right? And a lot of my clients are concerned about the two things. B12 and vitamin D, right? Especially in the winter for
The
vitamin D.
two of the nutrients that don't come from food.
Right.
So your clients, you're coaching them about food and they're asking you non-food questions.
Right.
For starters.
Right. And so these are like the two main biggest fears, that people are going to be deficient in. And so I want to know, what do you do for B12 and vitamin D? And have you had a blood test recently? Do you worry about these things? What do you recommend?
Wow. Cool question, really. And I don't get tired of answering it. B12 is not exactly what most people think it is. But there's no food that contains B12, right? Like you don't get B12 from food. Let's start there. So we obtain what's called an extrinsic factor, which is a part of B12. We obtain an extrinsic factor from poop, from the excrement, from the eliminated waste, from more than 100 different kinds of microbes. Now, there's billions of kinds of microbes, but there's more than 100 that in their waste material, there is this extrinsic factor. That extrinsic factor somehow or another has to find its way into your intestinal tract in order to be absorbed. But before it helps if it can connect with the intrinsic factor that we manufacture, the other half of B12. Intrinsic factors is produced in what are known as parietal cells, a little patch of cells in a portion of your stomach. And they're called goblet cells because of their shape, but they're technically parietal cells. And there's just a little patch of them, like a little screen of them on the wall of the stomach, kind of like what you see in the pancreas for producing insulin, those little islet cells. So these cells manufacture the intrinsic factor. The extrinsic and the intrinsic hook up together. And now we have what we think of as B12. Okay. Which goes to the intestines in order to be absorbed into the bloodstream in order to do what's going to happen. Where does the extrinsic factor come from? It comes from microbes. Now, we've been taught to fear microbes, but we've also been taught that microbes are everywhere. In between my eyes and my computer, 16 inches in front of me is a sea of microbes in the air, but I can't even see them because they're so small. But I can't even guess. There's trillions of them in my field of vision, right? And when I breathe in, every breath, I breathe in about 10,000 of them. So people have figured out there's a lot of microbes in the air. And your skin is coated in them. As is every mucous membrane in your body. So we have a few interconnected mucous membranes. One whole system is lined with mucous membrane. So from the inside of your nose and the inside of your mouth to the back of your throat where they connect, and then down your whole throat, this entire region is lined by mucus-producing cells. And they are coated in microbes. Most of that 100 different types of microbes are in that mucous membrane. If we want to, you could continue the mucous membrane, follow the track through your stomach, through your small intestine, through your large intestine, out the other end. And as most people know, the other end is also a mucous membrane. It's still lined on the inside with some mucus. And most people have heard that a fantastic large portion of each fecal mass that we produce is coated in mucus, and it helps hold things together and keeps it moving, because mucus is a membrane, is a substance that is designed to transport things through the body. So long answer, but the reality is that if I do this, I just took in a whole load of B12 from the mucous membranes in my nose, in my sinuses, in my throat. It's all there. And it's pretty easy to find. Which leads on to some interesting questions about B12, right? Because there's other mucous membranes that sometimes people will venture into that are also rich in B12. And I won't go there now, but I'll leave it up to your imagination. So that's part of the question. But to me, where do I get my vitamin D? I go outdoors. I mean, up until just recently, every nutrition book said somewhere between 95 to 100% of all the vitamin D that you get should come from sunlight. Only just recently have some nutrition books started changing that idea and telling you more about eating, animals that have vitamin D in them. But if you look at most nutrition books still, they're going to say somewhere between 95 to 100% of all the D you get, just go outside. That's all you have to do. It's done for you. But again, we're looking at isolated nutrients, and doesn't work that way, because even if you did go out in the sun, but you didn't get calcium, or you didn't go out in the sun, but you did get calcium, you can't utilize calcium without vitamin D, and calcium is in every cell of the body. The interesting part of the question for me is not these mechanical parts. The interesting part of the question for me is the philosophical part. You might get cancer of the nose. Should you have your nose cut off in advance? I would say no. You might go iron deficient. Should we supplement in advance of iron deficiency anemia symptoms? I would say no. As a trained individual, I would not say that it is prudent to supplement in advance of a problem. This is not even staving off the problem. This is actually creating other problems, and excess, oversufficiency can and is equally as much of a problem as deficiency. Playing chemistry with the body never works. So if you go to a doctor and say, I feel fantastically healthy, everything is working perfectly, I've never had better mind, body, spirit, everything is working like beyond my wildest dreams, should I supplement with something? And they do a bunch of blood work because they have to be thorough, and everything comes out perfect. And they go, oh, but you might go deficient. Maybe you should supplement with this, that, or the next. But no. And yet I understand that people get very scared because they hear, like, if you don't get enough vitamin D, you're going to end up with osteoporosis. It's a big deal, and it's a bad way to go. But if you don't strength train, you might end up with osteoporosis. I don't see everybody jumping on that wagon. And they go, oh, but B12 symptoms, if you get B12 deficiency, I mean, it'll create irreversible nerve damage. Well, yeah, after a few years of deficiency symptoms, you could eventually have irreversible problems. And there are people who do that. They tend to fall into two categories. They're either so abusive to their bodies, like street drug addicts, alcoholics, so out of touch that they didn't even realize that they had a B12 deficiency, or people who misunderstand health philosophy so badly that their health view is, I will never go to a doctor for anything under any circumstances ever. I'm always going to avoid the doctor at all costs. And those people can have symptoms that they ignore and not know what they are. Let's remember, one of the symptoms of B12 deficiency is confusion. But, you know, if you've got tingling fingers and toes and you're losing some coordination and you're feeling a bit confused and your vision isn't what it used to be, and you're starting to get some minor auditory or visual hallucinations and things aren't right, that's not permanent nerve damage. You can reverse all that. Just start supplementing with B12. The cool thing is, if you think you have a B12 deficiency, what's it cost? A couple dollars to take some B12? Doesn't cost much to find out. If you supplement with B12 for a week or two and nothing changes, well, then it wasn't a B12 problem. It was something else. But I can't imagine supplementing with anything or everything in advance of having a problem. I do not see, that's not playing it safe. That's experimenting on yourself in a way that maybe you're creating other imbalances. Who knows? I don't know, but I know that the nutrients we need are in the food we eat, and the stuff that doesn't come from food. I mean, sure, you get your B vitamins from food, but how do you lose them? You lose them with stress. So the B vitamins are known as stress vitamins. So maybe it's not that you need more B vitamins, maybe you need a little less stress. And that's an attitude adjustment, not a dietary one. There's a lot of things that are not about food, even for, I mean, we're more, can I say nuts? We're more concerned, we're more worried, we're more attentive to food issues in the raw food community than anywhere else. And we like to think, at least, that we're eating better than anybody else. And yet we're more worried about nutrients and nutrition and supplementing than anybody else. Like, I'd be worried about the people eating at McDonald's, not us.
The people, when you were eating Doritos, guys, you didn't care about your B12 or your vitamin D or your, whatever, your energy levels or whatever. So yeah, I agree, Doug. I completely agree. So I just want to wrap that up. What do you recommend for those with a B12 deficiency? What is the supplement or the protocol that you recommend?
This is a worldwide issue. Let's remember that the B12 was first discovered, B12 deficiency was first discovered on carnivores, meat eaters. There were no vegans back then, really, or very few. That the first several 100,000 cases of B12 deficiency were all on meat-eating populations. That all the research done on B12 deficiency has shown clearly that if you have a B12 deficiency and you start eating meat, that will not help you in any way, because no animal makes B12. If you have a deficiency and you need to supplement in order to save your life or to save your health, by all means supplement. But then let's find out why did you have this deficiency? What can we do to stop it from happening again? And let's remove the cause of the problem rather than treat the problem. Does that help? It's pretty simple, but it's generic and it works for everything. I don't know exceptions to that. I can't say, oh, yes, but except for zinc, I mean, no, it works for everything. If you're not showing deficiency symptoms, well, there's certainly no need to supplement. You're not going to save yourself from something that hasn't happened. Maybe it's never going to happen. It's probably never going to happen. You're eating the most nutritious foods you can possibly find. And by most nutritious, I need to remind people that most nutritious means not too much and not too little of anything. It's kind of like shoes. You want shoes that fit you. Bigger shoes isn't better. Bigger shoes aren't better. Bigger shoes aren't better. But more in the world of nutrition is not better. Lots of people have died from excess quantities of fat-soluble vitamins. Lots of people have gotten into lots of trouble with too much of this, that, or the next nutrient. And more does not equal better. Fruits and vegetables already provide us with the nutrients we need in the quantities we need them.
I agree. Yeah, I love it, Doug, because we just got to understand nature is a lot smarter than us humans, I would say.
Been here longer.
It's packaged everything perfectly. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna let you go because our hour is up, but Doug has promised a part 2. Oh, thank you. Doug has promised a part 2, so I'm excited. So we'll do this again. Yeah, thank you so much, Doug. Is there anything that you are currently working on or that you'd like everyone to know about, or anywhere that people can find more information about you? And
sure, it's sort of fun, actually. I'm working on a bunch of projects with a bunch of different people right now. It's very exciting stuff, and I don't usually tell people about stuff until I finished. But never hurts to leak a little. And I am accepting people now to I've got a site where they can express their interest in things if they want to express interest, so that I can get back to them as we get closer to finish. But my wife and I have coupled with Ted Carr to create a raw vegan educators certification program, unlike any other. And I'm excited of what we're putting together. This has been almost a year in the making already. I mean, this is going to be done first class. It's going to be the certification that people go, I've got this. I've got Doug Graham's 80-10-10 certification educator program. So I'm very excited about that. And we're hoping to release that quite soon. I'm working on a project in Europe for a series of presentations back on the road. Go back on the road and start doing presentations again, a whole new lecture series that will be for not just for beginners, where most things are geared towards them. This is for people who want to fine-tune their program and they're wondering why are they not succeeding the way they expected to on a raw food program. And that's going to be 6 weekends. So it's a big deal. I mean, that's taken a lot of work, and I'm having fun doing it. And of course, I'm still running my fast this winter from January 21st to March 4th, and have 2 more openings. So anybody wants to come to Costa Rica for a month and really fine tune their health, that's an opportunity. And I still offer a raw food forum on my website, Food and Sport, and also a Q&A there that, as far as I know, is the biggest Q&A for raw foods anywhere ever. So if you want questions answered or want to converse, make friends, find support, ask questions on the forum, you certainly can do that. It's a free service. and I'm happy to do that and offer that to people. So that's some of what's coming. There's more, and I don't like to leak too much, but it's fun to wake up every day and have lots to do. It's fun to wake up every day, have lots to do. Last weekend, I qualified for national championships in powerlifting. So that was kind of fun. They haven't announced the date of the nationals, but I'm hoping it's going to be the middle of the summer and they're not going to be a schedule conflict, because I'm going to be the lead speaker at 7 raw food festivals this year, all of them during the summer. So it's going to be a busy summer. And I'm just hoping it'll be fun to go to national championships. My goal is to make it up onto the podium, and you know what? It doesn't matter how well you perform or how good you look or how energetic you are. You can't convince everybody just because that happened, right? And so I'm not hoping to convince anybody else, but maybe just add one more brick to the idea that being a low-fat raw vegan really works well, that I can perform well against anybody on any diet. In fact, make it onto the podium in the entire country. I think it's a relatively big deal. I haven't done it yet, but I think I will. And I'm hoping there's not a schedule conflict, to be quite honest. But it's fun doing the powerlifting and coaching people in lifting. I've been coaching a lot of athletes in strength training. We just had one of my clients set 2 national championships in breaststroke this past weekend, so that was kind of fun. They keep bubbling up to the top. The 80-10-10 athletes just keep bubbling up to the top. And for those of you who aren't athletes, you don't have to be an athlete to benefit from 80-10-10. You don't have to. You're going to get all the same benefits. You just won't eat quite as much as they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I defaulted to 80-10-10 and I cleared my acne, Doug. It helped me with my energy. It helped me grow my hair. It helped me with so many things. And, and then I wanted to move more. I'm not an athlete, but I wanted to exercise. I wanted to start lifting weights. And so, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much, Doug, for everything you do, all the truth that you have uncovered and shared with the world, and stepping into your greatness and being you. Oh, and I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you very much for providing me the platform. I look forward to coming back. We'll do a part 2. Anybody wants to say hello, please do so. Come to Food and Sport. It's 10 letters, word food, the letter N, the word sport. It's foodandsport.com. And just say hello. I respond to my email. I don't actually initiate a lot of emails per day, but I answer a lot of emails every day, and it's fun for me. I very little social media. I'd much rather hear from you personally. And if anybody has feedback, please send the feedback. We want to know, and we'll look forward to part 2.
Thank you so much, Doug. I'll leave the links below, and thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bless your heart. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Doug. Bye.
It's my treat, Jeanette. It's truly my treat. Like I said, I several people have mentioned your name. Wow. And it's always been good. It's always been good. So that's marvelous. I'm sorry about the technical issue. I have no idea. I tried my phone, I tried my computer. Everything just kept coming up with this. Have you bumped into
It's a new thing I'm doing. So Doug, it's just brand new. YouTube collab live is brand new, and I've only done it with 2 people. It worked last week, but honestly, it's brand new. So I don't know if it's YouTube or it's you, or who knows?
I don't know. Or maybe it only worked. Was the last people overseas? Maybe it only works in the States.
Oh, you're overseas.
I'm in England.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting. Maybe that's it. Yeah.
I tried all they had suggestions. Do this, do this, do this. I did all those things. It made no difference to my phone or my computer. I'm just going I'm so sorry. I can't make this work. I'm really trying. I don't know why.
No, thank you so much. It's really good quality though. If we can get it to work, YouTube Live is really good quality, but whatever. I really appreciate you for sending the emails and doing this, and we'll definitely do a part 2. And thank you so much.
Okay. Look forward to hearing from you.
Okay.
You let me know when works, okay?
Will do. Bye, Doug.
Bye-bye.